Hey, good Thursday morning from the Good Morning Thursday something here from the office. I'm your host, BKP, 8 a.m. on the East Coast. We'll start right out. We'll get everything out of the way. You can reach the show, 706-889-9700. You can text me, tell me what you think. You can send me an email, and there's all the ways you can find us on social media. Now, the number has changed. I've been told the number has changed since I clipped this graphic here. But go with number 3, Josh. There's 12. There's reporting 12 dead now. Thousand Oaks, California, shooting in a club last night. College kids, country night at a club. Somebody walked in and opened fire. 12 dead, we're being told. So what we're going to do is we're going to back away while the NBC and the MSNBC and they are sensationalizing this. And as disgusting as it may sound, Joe Scarborough's already trying to figure out how the President of the United States is responsible for this. Yes. Enemy of the people? Yes. Joe Scarborough, they're all trying to figure out now. They sound sad. They've all taken their broadcasting acting classes. I did not take any. I just act like this. But they've all taken the broadcasting acting classes, okay? And they are, compassionate. And they sound troubled and they're concerned. They go into that mode as they try to search for if the President of the United States, in his hateful tone, if his rhetoric would have toned down, why nobody would have walked in there last night while these kids were innocently having a country night at the bar. So we're going to leave that alone until let it develop. Okay, we're not going to try to tie it to anything, start looking for any reasons. Number 15. Number 15, Brian Kemp, the Secretary of State of Georgia, is now, according to him, he has declared himself governor-elect. Winner, Brian Kemp, governor-elect. There you go. He won the governor's race according to 100% of the polls in. The numbers are done. Abrams is flying. Oprah's not flying back in. Oprah is sending attorneys. No, they're all sending attorneys. She has not conceded. They're going to start looking for. Provisional ballots. People rejected from the polls. You name it. So they're going to fight it. She has not conceded the race. But yesterday, the President of the United States did call Brian Kemp, and yesterday, he put out the Secretary of State's office that he is the winner. So we have Brian Kemp, governor-elect, winner. Okay. Now in our graphics department, we wanted to make a nice graphic right there. All right. And as the winner, and we think, Stacey Abrams ran a hard, tough fought campaign. So I told the graphics department, I like the winner. I like the check mark, Brian Kemp. I like the state flat, the state. I liked all that, I thought our graphics department did a great job. I said, it's only right that we put something up for, Stacey there. And so number 16 there is, yes, she's a loser. Stacey Abrams, not governor, as you can see. And there's one of those flattering photogs. Just saying. Hey, I'm not the mean one posting stuff on social media. I'm not. Some of you out there, woo, you. So, loser, Stacey Abrams. There she is. Got the big L right there. Loser, Stacey, loser. I can look at that all day. You're not the governor. I'm looking right at the camera right there. You are not the governor. George Soros, you lost. Bloomberg, you lost. Oprah, you lost. Obama, you lost. The list goes on. Loser, winner. All right, so that's that. Moving right along. Remember when the media was upset? I know. They're upset every day, but it's Trump. Okay. Let's go to number 27. This is ABC News. This was a big deal. Remember the Trump rallies, all right? You remember all the people that tried to get the Trump to ask questions? You remember this young lady here? Ugly moments at rallies raise concerns. You remember that? And this young lady here, and that's ABC News right there in the corner, and it's breaking news. That's breaking news. Remember that Corey Lewandowski went to stop a reporter that was trying to get to Donald Trump. He did nothing. Remember that? Remember when the media thought that was, let's go to 26. All right, there. Breaking news. Trump rally assault. Ugly moments at rallies raise concern. Remember that? Remember when that was top story? Let's go to number 25. Katie Tur. MSNBC. Remember that? Katie. Breaking news. MSNBC. Remember there? And they circled that. That's Corey Lewandowski right there. And they're trying to pinpoint him as assaulting. Okay. Let's go to 24. Why, that would be Jim Acosta assaulting. Hey, this young lady, a staffer, the president said next, her job is just to take the mic around the room. And he gave her the stiff arm. He blocked her. I wonder if any charges will be brought up. I wonder how many news outlets did that as breaking news, top story. Jim Acosta assaults young lady, or just lady, right? Assaults young lady, all right? Donald Trump campaign manager charged over assault of a reporter. Donald Trump, there is The Guardian. Donald Trump, this is March 11, 2016, Donald Trump's accuser. Go back to number 27. Donald Trump's accuses reporter in assault row of making up the story. Oh, right, she made up the story. Trump defends campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. All right, that's NBC. Donald Trump's campaign manager turned himself in to Florida police after being charged with an assault of a reporter. New York Times. It made the New York Times. Corey Lewandowski, Donald Trump's campaign manager, is charged. Donald J. Trump's presidential campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, in Jupiter, Florida, who said he had grabbed a reporter this month as she tried to ask Mr. Trump a question. The reporter, see, she was trying to ask a question. Just the roles have changed, right? A protester by the shirt collar at a Trump rally in Arizona, yanking, viewing negatively by overwhelming numbers. Trump insults female reporter. Remember when that was breaking news and Corey had to turn himself in? Yesterday, there was a little altercation with the CNN, Enemy of the People network. Roll the Jim Acosta tape.
They're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. All right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am.
Excuse me. That's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts.
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either. So
I understand.
To be honest.
So let me ask you a question, if I can. You repeatedly said
you are the best,
Mr. President. You repeatedly over the course.
Okay, just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead,
Mr. President. Over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir, at the end of the campaign, you repeatedly said that Americans need to fear Democrats. You said Democrats would unleash a wave of violent crime that endangers families everywhere. Why are you pitting Americans? Why are you pitting Americans against one another, sir?
Peter, what are you trying to be him?
No,
Peter,
I'm just asking the question.
Let me just tell you, very simple, because they're very weak on crime. Because they have often suggested, members and people within the Democrat Party at a high level have suggested getting rid of ICE, getting rid of law enforcement. That's not going to happen.
Hey, NBC News. Hey, NBC News.
Jim Acosta, I don't know. I mean, he threw out the arm block on this young lady. I think he should be in jail. I should think he should have to report in as Corey Lewandowski. I think there should be charges brought up. I think there should be a full investigation. In fact, I think Nancy Pelosi should say this is going to be her first House investigation, all jokes aside. I think, and Peter Alexander, NBC, yeah, they're in cahoots. That's exactly right. So, Jim Acosta, this is a tweet from Jim Acosta. He is lousy. It's a disgrace. And I, for one, am not a Donald Trump defender, as you may think I am on a daily basis. But I, for one, applaud the President of the United States for standing up for his people. And he is not going to accept it any longer. He's had enough. He's had enough of the way Jim Acosta treats Sarah Huckabee Sanders. He's had enough. He watched. I know this president. No, I really don't, but I do. And he watched that young lady. I'm going to call her a young lady, all right? God, you never know what you can say anymore. But he watched that young lady doing her job. Her job is nothing more, the White House staff there in the room, is to do nothing more than to take the mic when the president says, you're done, next question. That's all the president of the United States, forget his name, all the president of the United States has to do is say, next question, okay? And it is not in the Constitution that you have to have a press corps, all right? We can go into, White House press corps, we can go into the history of when the White House press corps was created, okay? And why it was created, all right? Right now, the White House press corps' job is to do two things. Get Obama's message out in a positive way and help him get the love affair out that they had with Obama, all right, out to the public in a nice, shiny wrapper, or take down the Republican that happens to be in the office at that time. That's their job. That's what they think their job is, and that's what they call reporting. And Jim Acosta is not reporting anything. He is a hostile reporter. He's nasty. And when Donald Trump looked down and he watched that young lady doing her job, and she was going to take the mic to the next reporter, and he said enough's enough. All right? So they do out front hits. There's areas set up on the White House lawn. They call them different timing. They do their hits. And just like you've watched John Roberts, if you watch Fox, there's a background, okay? And there's a background of there's lights set up. There's a certain area on the White House lawn where press go. And if you go, the press are only 10 feet apart. They're only 10 feet apart because if you look over here to the right, there's another network doing theirs and there's another network. So there's an area, it's well lit, and they have the backdrop, and that's when Brett Baer says, let's go to John Roberts at the White House lawn. And what's the mood at the White House this evening, John? And he says the mood, and the backdrop is the White House. Okay? Guess what? Jim Acosta, I've just been denied entrance to the White House. Wow. Pulled him, baby. First, John Brennan, his security clearance. All right? Security clearance. First, John Brennan. I have just been denied entrance to the White House. Secret Service just informed me I cannot enter the White House grounds for my 8 p.m. hit. He couldn't do it. Jim, no. You're not on the list. I'm looking. I'm sure they sent my name in. You're not on the list. You're not on the list. Can't come in. Jim Acosta has press pass suspended by White House. Sarah Sanders announced. CNN's chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta's press pass to access the White House was suspended until further notice Wednesday, hours after he engaged in a contentious back and forth with the President Trump. I've just been denied entrance, Acosta said. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders confirmed Acosta's tweet in a statement claiming the suspension of his press credentials stemmed from his placing his hands on a young woman just trying to do her job as a White House intern. She called the behavior absolutely unacceptable. So let's see here. Look at number 22. Number 22. Is that, yeah. There you go. That's a White House intern. That's an intern. Acosta threw the forearm on her. Thought it was Sunday afternoon, and he was through the forearm, through the block. I'm not done talking, woman. You out of here. You don't touch my interns. And I'm telling you, Trump's watching that. And oh, absolutely not. Number 23. Look at this young lady's face. Now, if you can see at home on the screen, look at Trump. Look at Trump. This is a picture that you should really look, if you get close up and focus. Trump's looking down at what Acosta's doing to this young lady. No. It is over. Did we put up 24? We already put up 24. That was 23. Go back to 23. And let's go to 21. And there's Peter. In the other side, there's Peter Alexander. You can see on one side. And you're going to see Acosta. NBC. There you go, folks. Couldn't be any clearer. I'm not going to take up for any other reporter in that room. But NBC at CNN. Right there together, the enemy of the people. I'm no big fan of yours, Peter. No big fan of yours. So we have some others we're going to show. I just think Acosta, number 17. Please, just shut up. Just shut up. People, shut up. All right, so I think this should be brought up on charges. That's just my opinion. Number 19, Tester made it through. Barely got by, made it through. Out there in Montana, Scott Walker will not get a third term as governor there. That's a tough one. Here is the, give me number 2 here, Whitaker. This is, we're going to talk about this later in the show. We have Carla's Corner at 8:30, and we're going to come back. This is the new acting attorney general. Number 1, Beauregard. We must inform you that your duties, your services, Beauregard, are no longer needed. You need to retire back to your home, Beauregard. Sit on the front porch, stir some of that nice cold iced tea, and sit on that porch. Just look out at them fields there in Alabama. 'Cause you going home, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I know no matter what you say to me right now, I got no choice, Jeffrey. You screwed up. So there's little Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions. He will be going back to Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama. That's the song he has in the old 8-track this morning in his 1978 Pontiac Bonneville, headed down to Alabama. There's Jeffrey. He's got the old, Sweet Home Alabama in there. He's headed home. He packed it up, got a little box, went around, got his bobblehead dolls and everything and put them in the box, and he's headed home. He will no longer be Attorney General. He's gone. They 86'd him. Whatever they do, I don't know. And Rosenstein was called to the big house, the White House. He was in the meeting, Rod Rose, in the meeting. Rod is no longer in charge of the Mueller Russian investigation. Mueller no longer reports to Rod Rosenstein. No longer reports to him. Rod, I understand. Good job. Okay. But here's what's going to happen. Not in real need of your services any longer. So, who is Matthew Whitaker? Let me play this clip really quick. You have to watch it. If you listen at home, you have to watch it because it was just assembled on YouTube. And let me tell you, let's look at who Matthew Whitaker, that is now in charge of the Mueller reports to this guy here. Roll that tape. So we got an Iowa boy, this old boy from the cornfields of Iowa. Played there at Iowa, played in the Rose Bowl in 1991. Matthew Whitaker, corn-fed boy. From Middle America, where New York quite does not understand him. California doesn't know him. Chicago doesn't want him there because he's from Iowa. He's in charge. Oh, yeah. And they say the president likes that Iowa boy. Yeah. Is it Cornhuskers? Is that what they are? Are they the Iowa Cornhuskers? Did I get that right, Josh? Hawkeyes? Who's the Cornhuskers? Nebraska. Oh, my God, I'm in big trouble now. Josh, throw me a lifeline. So this Iowa boy is in charge now, this young man, Matthew Whitaker. He's in charge now of the Russian investigation. So Trump, here's what we're going to talk about at 9 o'clock. Ready? 9 o'clock. Here's what we're going to talk about. Trump says he may be or he is in better shape now with Democrats having the House. I agree. I will explain why I agree with the president. What kind of negotiating shape he's in now is actually better than where he came from. Second, if the House of Representatives, Republican House of Representatives is in the minority, how can they get what they want? I'm going to tell you how I feel they can get what they want for the most part and stay in the be in the minority. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how many state races were lost, that were lost over the last 24 hours. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about, don't forget, Republicans, that's all the way down to your county commissioners. So in some of the states that are claim to be Republican. They surely have not been acting as Republicans, and maybe the voters answered that. So don't get the big MSNBC and the CNN takeaway. Let's look at the little local takeaway and focus on that. Is your state run by Republicans in it name only? They got something they call that a rhino. Is that what happened? Could some of the voters in these states say, hey, you said you're Republicans, you said you're fiscal hawks, and we just don't see it. So we're going to send you 1 or 2 Democrats. So maybe there's a wake-up call. You know me. What have I been yelling for how long? You're so tired of it. National redistricting. National Democrat Redistricting Committee. Been telling you about that for how many years now? Told you. They redistrict right Pennsylvania. They slid some right over there. We'll talk about that. Then I want to say this. At 9:30, I'm going to give it a time because I'm going to make sure I do it. I'm going to close with the preview of 2 Gilmer County stories I'm working on. So out there in Gilmer County at 9:30. One, I'm going to talk about a sports team in Gilmer County. That's one story I'm working on, sports team. And 2, I'm going to talk about the Gilmer County 2019 proposed budget. Okay? I want to talk about some pay raises in this budget. 9:30. Don't miss that. I promise. 9:30. 2 Gilmer County stories you want to stay with. I'm your host, BKP. When we return, it's time for Carla's Corner.